Hey everybody, it's a Mad Master here. I'm just doing a video today, and pardon the weird, awkward angle of this video because my selfie stick broke, so I'm gonna actually have to get a new one this week. Uh, I was looking, and actually, I could probably get a better one. It'll probably have better ways of filming my beautiful self. So, anyways, this video is about the Cracker Barrel controversy and what I think about it. And this is kind of a weird take, I guess, not take, but weird thing to talk about. It's like, why should I care about these culture war issues? I'm not conservative by any means, so this is not coming from a conservative angle necessarily. But Harlan Spinks did a video, about a year ago, less than a year ago, about this. Why is everything ugly now? Which I'll hopefully put in the description of this video. And it was kind of about the minimalist trend that we've had about 2010, 2011, 2012. This whole thing came about, this minimalist, sleek trend, which purports to be anti-pretentious and it's like this thing. But actually it comes from as he's explaining, from this actually almost like left-wing anarchist kind of point of view. It seems like it actually turns out to be really pretentious and really stupid. So basically what happened with the minimalist trend, which is very, very obnoxious at this point. See, the pendulum swings different ways. So, we have the gaudy thing with the redesign of the White House, this gaudy gold, the thing that Trump is doing, and not to mention, people are going to associate like maximalism and cluttercore with the right wing, which is unfortunate. However, the fact of the matter is the pendulum swung way too into this and into this aesthetic mess, in my opinion, more messy than this cluttercore that I have going on here. So my opinion is that this whole thing, this whole aesthetic, this whole minimalist aesthetic is really played out. And the fact of the matter is, people are calling it woke and stuff. Like the woman that the person that took over the design, I don't know if she's responsible for the design. I don't know much about it, for the Cracker Barrel logo, the new logo. Seems like one of those type. I mean, they're mocking her and attacking her way too much online. I think it's ridiculous. She's just a normal kind of person that's involved with this kind of thing nowadays. Like, you see this happen. Like, even Elon Musk hired someone like this for Twitter, for X, for a while, and then she quit after all this stuff. But like, this type of person comes in and does these weird kind of renewals of a brand, right? So what happened with this, it's this kind of archetype that people talk about, and they say she's woke, or whatever, or that it's woke. The fact of the matter is, these corporate trends coincide with a lot of what has happened with the woke thing. So people kind of tie these two things in, which is kind of stupid. And Cracker Barrel, some conservative company, or appeals to conservatives or whatever. So this minimalist thing, which is really obnoxious at this point, it's like the MSDNC recently, they got bought out and they're trying to rebrand, and they call themselves MS Now. And you look at the logo, you're like, what is this crap? It's not even a design. Who the hell designed this? It's just someone typing on their computer for 5 minutes, or probably 60 seconds it took to 30 seconds to redesign the MSDNC logo, which is pretty much the MS Now. They call it MS Now, like My Source Now News or whatever. It's just ridiculous. Anyways, I don't care about MSDNC. I never did. There was just a bunch of corporate establishment news. But this whole redesigning things, like being this simple, sleek kind of look with things, and taking these logos that they're a little busy, like the Cracker Barrel thing. I think it's going to be antiquated in the future, because I think we're going towards more. It's we're at this conflict point, this connection point between these this nexus between this well, you just need a this sleek design of there's nothing going on. It's not too busy, which becomes this rich bourgeois pretentiousness in this weird way. I'll give you an example. So in the 90s, and I always compare things to the 90s and metal and stuff, and I always bring this in, but it's just, it fits so well with this allegory, fits so well with this situation. Oh, it's part of I thought there was a stain on my new Suicidal Tendencies shirt, but it's actually part of the logo. I'm like, oh no. Pardon me, I just woke up. I woke up like this, like those shirts say. But anyways, this whole thing about the like grunge, like, oh man, those bands in the 80s, oh, they shred, they're so pretentious, they sing about girls and Dungeons and Dragons and stuff. We're like a real street people, we're the real people, we're just dressed like we're lumberjacks off the street on stage, and we play these simple chords and these songs that connect with people. We're really great, we're really cool. And it becomes this pretentiousness in this way. It becomes like this anti-pretentious pretentiousness. Just look at like, so when like prog rock was big in England in the 70s, you had these people writing these articles for NME or whatever. Actually, the irony, the Sex Pistols, it was an Anarchy in the UK, mentions the Enemy. It's actually NME, New Music Express or whatever in England. They were talking about a magazine. They were talking about the Enemy. They were talking about the NME, the magazine, which is, people don't, that's a little bit of a minutia about the Sex Pistols. So anyways, this whole anti-prog thing in the 70s from these writers in these magazines they were communists and stuff. These people, like socialists, are like, oh, prog rock's so pretentious. But the irony is these British wanker journalists became pretentious in their anti-pretentiousness. If you interview, they talked about Rush. You see interviews with Rush from the period or anything. They're anything but pretentious. They're just brainy nerds. Like, yeah, we have songs based on Ayn Rand, which later Neil Peart kind of sort of retconned his whole thing with that, which is a whole other story. But nevertheless, it's like we're just some geeks from Toronto that write these songs, and you're like, talking about how, oh, they're against the working class, they're fascists in Rush. It becomes this pretentious wanker, like, and they're privileged. These writers are privileged. If you're making a living from writing about how fascist the band Rush is in the 1978 or whatever, you're privileged. You're a privileged person. You're being pretentious. This is something that kind of gets to me, because I know that in the past I've been pretentious about stuff. Sometimes lately I've been pretentious about stuff outwardly, like almost in this ironic way, like as far as like clothing and stuff. Like I'm not dressed like I would be if I wanted to be pretentious today, but I'm just saying, like, wearing these like Victorian types of things and stuff, just to try, and this top hat and wear the goth night and stuff. I try to be pretentious in this way that's fun. I just don't care. Or playing shred, it's like, well, I just don't care. I just like to be pretentious for fun. But this pretentious in this really serious, non-ironic way that these writers were. So getting back to the point where these designs, like, oh, with this Cracker Barrel design or whatever, it's like, we're doing this, oh, we got to do these new sleek designs to appeal to people, but their backlash is just so bad against these things. I don't think it's going woke. I think it's just obnoxious, like, design, like some of these new apartment buildings. You can watch all these videos about why is everything ugly now. Like, that's the best one. But like, there are a lot of videos about that now, about how, the aesthetics of modern corporate culture and all this stuff. Like, just look at like McDonald's. There's all these memes all day and night. There's about how McDonald's looks like crap now, or Taco Bell. Like, I know it's not the best thing to extol, like, the virtues of fast food, but at the same time, looking at their buildings, it's just like, it's brutalist, kind of like modernist kind of crap, like stripped down minimalist architecture that just doesn't have the fun that they used to have. So I think I get the point of the Cracker Barrel backlash of the logo. So And I agree with a lot of that. I think there should be a balance. I think there's a place for minimalism, but there's a place for maximalism too. You know, I'm gonna do once I get my apartment a little bit better set up, I'm actually to do a video called "A Tour of My Cluttercore Apartment" because I found out about the word cluttercore and I think it's hilarious. But anyways, that's all I got to say. That's about all.